Hi, I'm Melitta Campbell, award-winning business coach and best-selling author of A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. And it's my pleasure today to share with you my top 5 tips for networking success, even if you feel shy. So, as you may have guessed from the title of my book, I was never a natural networker. It was something I avoided at all costs. As an introvert, I always felt that I didn't know what to say. I felt awkward and out of place. And I just didn't feel that I had what it took to be like those other people who were working the room, being loud and witty and sharing their knowledge with so much ease until I was forced into having to learn what networking was all about when I moved country and I had to make friends, make business acquaintances, and really start to build my connections from scratch. So I started learning from books about the tools, and a lot of what I got from those was really helpful, and I still use to this day. But most of the books missed the point that I was terrified. They kind of assumed that I was very happy to go networking and start schmoozing with people. So that I really wanted to create a book that covered that awkwardness and how to overcome that. And I developed my own victory framework to help overcome that awkwardness and give myself permission to be me and to do networking in a way that really filled my introverted soul and felt good, and give myself permission that even if I only wanted to go for 30 minutes and that was enough, that was fine. And to rewrite the rules of what making connections was all about. That helped me build my network and my connections really quickly. And as soon as I started to fall into that and started to enjoy the process of networking, because it can be enjoyable, I promise, then everything changed for me. So the victory framework is all about creating a vision of where you want to go. Why are you doing this in the first place? What are you going to gain from this? What's the bigger picture? And then getting intentional about that, showing up with conviction and starting to build your confidence and courage. Now, what I didn't know beforehand was that I always assumed confidence was something that was going to magically appear one day when I was ready. But in fact, confidence is what comes afterwards. You need the courage to show up. Then, once you've been to your network event or you've done this new activity of any kind, then you have the confidence, because confidence doesn't come from knowing you can do something. It comes from trusting that you can figure it out no matter what happens. So, the more courage you take to step out there and try new things, the more confidence you're going to build. And that confidence you can then take forward into your business, into your career, into your networking, into anything else that you do in life, which is wonderful. The T in the victory formula stands for be true to yourself. The O stands for building, planning ahead for your obstacles. You know what's going to trip you up when you go networking. So plan ahead. What will you do when you have those wobble moments when you're walking up to the reception desk? How can you counteract that? What do you do when you have an awkward silence? So plan ahead, and you'll suddenly find that those situations don't even arise. The R stands for writing your own rules. As I mentioned, that was a game changer for me, allowing myself to show up as best I could in a way that made me feel comfortable. And then that had the knock on effect of making other people around me feel comfortable too. And finally, the Y is just to remind yourself that you've got this. So, my first tip is to break that victory frame formula down and work through that for yourself. Work out what that formula looks like for you. And I've come to believe that networking is the ultimate shortcut to everything you want to achieve in life. So it really is worth taking the bit of time and effort to work through that formula and apply it to your own networking efforts. The other thing I would want to recommend you to do is to remember that networking is not a game of business card bingo. What you really want to be doing is just fishing for coffee, just finding those one or two people that you really want to follow up with, to get to know more, to explore synergies, to potentially work with or have them work with you. But it's the actual event itself is just such a small part of networking. The bigger part will come before in your preparation and afterwards in your follow-up. The actual event itself is just there for you to have fun, meet your next new friends, and just find those one or two people that you want to follow up with and meet for coffee afterwards. So take that pressure off you to get out as many business cards as possible. And if you are going to give out business cards, then I would recommend you give it at the end of a conversation and not at the beginning. What that really tells people, I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I want to continue this conversation. If you give it out first, it's a bit of an empty gesture because you don't know the people yet. So my tip, give the bid cards out last, if at all. My third tip is to prepare your tools. So think about what you need when networking. So there are the obvious things like getting your business cards, having a pad of paper and a pen just in case, making sure your phone is charged, planning your outfit in advance so it's something that's comfortable. It's not going to be a skirt that's too tight or heels that ache or a shirt that gapes or a tie that's got stings on it. And really think about, what are your goals for the event? What do you want to get out of this? So knowing that in advance is going to make it much more likely that that's what you'll come away with. Block time for follow-up afterwards, because that's a really key part of networking, is what you do next after you've started that conversation. And optimize your online presence, particularly around your social media. It's likely if people meet you at a networking situation, whether in person or online, they're going to go and check you out on LinkedIn, check out your website, Facebook, all of these different places. So make sure that you've thought ahead of what the people from that particular event are likely to want to know most about you, or what would they find most interesting about your offer, and make sure that everything is up to date and you've got posts relevant to that that's going to welcome them when they come and check you out. And remember, they may check you out before the event too. Lots of events now have an event list, participant list that's made available to people before the event even starts. So you can use that to your advantage, but also know that other people may be checking you out before the event. And finally, prepare your introduction. So you know you're going to be asked, what do you do? And this is a question that used to trip me up massively. And I knew people were going to ask. So plan ahead when you're thinking about what you, before you go to the event, plan ahead how you're going to respond to this. Now, I would recommend that instead of giving a boring job title, that you explain who you typically work with, what you do for them, and the results that you deliver. So just in a very simple short sentence, but that's going to give them a much better impression and a much better idea if you're someone that they want to be adding to your network, their network rather. If you're someone that they want to follow up with, that they want to work with, if there's some scope for synergies there, it's going to tell them a lot more than a job title. And very often with your job title, it comes with some preconceptions. So if you say, I'm a teacher, they will assume they know what a teacher is, right? So if you have this alternative approach, say who you work with, what you do for them, and what benefits you deliver, then you're going to be making sure that you're not relying on their preconceptions, but you're giving them the meaning that you want them to take away. So take some time for that. And finally, have fun. It's networking. I totally understand that it can feel unnatural and awkward and not always the right place to be, but just have fun with it. Make sure that you're going out there, you are owning your expertise, you are sharing your value, because sharing and adding value is really at the heart of successful networking. So have some fun thinking about ways that you can do that, that's in ways that represent your brand, that add value for others. And if you have fun when you're networking, then the people you meet are going to have fun too. So check out my book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, for lots more tips about networking on your own terms and having fun while doing it. And in the meantime, if you found these helpful, then I'd love to know in the comments what you're going to take away and what your experience is with networking. Bye.